How do you protect your factions from getting stomped by the Xenon in the early game and also make some money doing it? I want to show you one of the methods that's viable for maybe not the very earliest part of the game, but relatively soon. Um, so one of the things we're going to focus on here is defense platforms. I have several of these set up already. I'll show you kind of how they are working. We'll take my most important one right here. Uh, Now, I take no credit for the composition of this structure. I've made a couple modifications. I'll explain in a moment. This was actually done by Francis John. I'll link the relevant video in the description of this one so you can go look at that. But the best way to help your factions, looks like this one snuck in, is to set up these choke points where uh, basically the Xenon come in and just get stomped immediately. The split usually gets stomped pretty quick after starting a game. And so what you can do is kind of go through what normally would be like these difficult entry points and set up tower defenses. They cost a little bit of money to start with, but I'll explain that it really isn't that much. So the first one you probably want to consider setting up is right here, because this is just like a very hostile gateway into the rest of the gate network. It's like, as you can see, right in the middle of everything. There's Argon space pretty close. Talati aren't very far away, and your base of operations, likely in Heretics End, will be pretty close as well. And we don't want that. So I would set it up here. One of the things that you probably want to do is, I'll talk about affording it in a moment, but the station itself, let's just go to land build. I have this set up. This is minus this container space. This cross section right here is something that I didn't come up with, but I added on these floating discs right here. And you can see that they're at an angle. And one of the ways that I ended up doing this, just created a template. It looks like this. And I'll just go through and remove these sections and rotate these at 45 degrees. That way, and these four pieces right here are all lasers. We just go on all lasers to get all the little guys that come through. That takes kind of the pressure off of the other tower to focus on the big guys, like the Ks and the Is. And so I'm going to back out of this. Yes, I definitely don't want to keep those changes. I have them set up here in Family Crit and Family Zen, as well as Zyar's Dominion right here. Currently have the latest one I put up was right here in Fires of Defeat, which was exceptionally difficult to get stood up. And then my next one will be to take out this station right here and put one here. Getting them there is somewhat challenging depending on how early on in the game you are. If this is like day one, the Xenon probably haven't made a move yet, and you'll have a little bit easier of a time. Oh, I also set one up over here in Litany of Fury. So what is probably the easiest thing to do is get a small fleet of fighters, a frigate, and maybe a destroyer. Yes, these cost money. I get that. You can do it without a destroyer, but if you have one to guard the gate, it is probably going to help you out. And one of the things you're probably going to want to do is set one of these towers up about 10 kilometers from the gate itself. And you don't want to put it precisely in front of the gate. You want to have it at a bit of an angle so that, well, so let's say right here, your trajectory is going to be roughly like this, where my cursor is coming straight out. So you want to put it 10 kilometers out, and then not directly in this path, but maybe like a few degrees to the side. and then you want to angle it still towards the center. This is going to allow you, if you're coming through the other side at full speed, you're not going to slam into the middle of the cross section of your defense tower. But even if you do, it probably wouldn't be too terrible. So the way to get that there, because you're probably going to have some activity, is take your frigate, and I'll just use one of mine as an example. I'm going to reload this game anyway. So I have a frigate here that is accompanied by a Hydra and a couple of these very cheap fighters. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to send them, I'm going to put a command here so I'm not getting them blown up while we're waiting. I'll go make 2 lines of laser towers, preferably Mark II, and you'll just kind of want to zoom in so you have some room to work with, and just make 2 lines like this on each side of the gate. I'm just going to move over here. I sometimes put maybe 4 rows of 8 generally, and then I add some interspersed where I think I might need them. But basically just I'd go through this process first. What this does is if you set the fighters to defend, they're going to engage any of the fighters that come through, the small guys that come through the gate, and start harassing the frigate while it's laying down this laser field. I consider the fighters expendable, but I understand trying to keep them alive. Once this laser tower defense grid is set up, then you're going to have some breathing room to get a construction ship into this area and start building the structure. So you're going to buy a plot, you put a defense tower down. One of the things that you're going to want to do, and I will just show you the process here. I'm just going to create a new plot. Let's just pretend it's right here. I'm going to rotate this roughly so it's toward the gate, and then I'm going to buy a license, and then let's go to the plan build. I'll load this up here. Oh, I forgot to extend it. Hold on. We'll extend this in the direction toward the gate, and I'll add some space in these directions just because I don't want to go back and forth with this. And we'll load the plan. So we've got this guy now. And I want to find the gate right here. So we'll move it this way. And it's roughly, it's not exactly towards, in the middle of it. It's kind of at an angle, which is what we want. We could probably move this over a little bit. I might spend more time perfecting this if I wasn't going to revert this. And then I'm going to aim it slightly more at the center. And then we'll go through and remove. Remove these guys. Not remove this sequence. Then I'll remove just this one, and then we can remove this sequence. Okay, now that these are in place, I'm just going to alter how they are positioned. I'm going to move them all to 45 degrees. And there we go. This is how I would have it set up. So when I'm a little farther away than I normally would put this, but when all of the small guys come through the gate, they're going to get kind of attacked by these 4 that are at an angle, and they're going to kind of keep them stuck where they're at so that the smaller flak cannons here can take care of them and the larger plasma guns can take out the larger things that come through. One of the things you're going to want to do is make sure this standard dock area is towards the bottom. We don't need that immediately, but you really do benefit from having the defense discs, preferably one laser disc and one plasma and flak cannon disc, as one of the first things. So when you build this in the plan builder or you're just putting it up here, try and add the pieces in such a way that they get so that the standard dock isn't being built first, because you're going to have to protect with whatever assets you happen to have. You're going to have to protect the builder as it's going through and creating this. And so I'm just going to back out here. Once the builder's done, you're going to want to add some repair drones. And so go to one that I have already set up, I believe, with repair drones. This guy. I'll go here. I've got to figure out how this guy made it through. Maybe I need to add some more. So here, your logical overview and drones. I like to put about 50 of them, of the repair drones, so that you don't have to worry too much about, it's going to take damage here and there. You don't want to babysit it. So put in a buy order for some repair drones. I found that 50 works just fine. Might even be overkill. And you'll also notice that I have this scout ship that is moving around in this area. And this is where the money-making part comes into play. This is actually one of the main reasons why I have this in place, is not only does the platform itself stop the Xenon from just stomping on everything in the split sectors and the other sectors that I care about, but it also makes me money, because what I have this guy, this scout ship doing, I'll show you his behaviors here. He's on a repeat order, and you only need 1 star for this, so it should be pretty easy to set this up. What's happening is he's collecting drops and then docking. And the reason he's docking is I want him out of the way as much as possible if a fight breaks out, because he's squishy. And so it also helps to not have your scout ship that's squishy with a bunch of illegal wares that they pick up hanging around an open space, so that the police can harass them, and you just don't want that. Because what you want to do is, you see under inventory, he's picked up a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of things that we can sell here. Most notably, we've got flux capacitors, damage singularity engine, and the programmable field array. These are all SATA components that are used to build SATA. SATA can't be sold itself, but the components can, and they're worth quite a bit. And I'll show you what I've been doing. You can, if you don't have teleportation researched, what you can do is just teleport to, or if you do have it researched, you just teleport to the guy here, and apparently I'm experiencing autosave. Fantastic. As soon as this finishes, I'll show you. But there are ways around this if you can't teleport. I'll get there in just one moment. But when you have teleported to the ship that is collecting all the things, you just go talk to them. And you can see hand me your inventory is an option. So I'll just say hand me your inventory, and I'll go to my list of guys here, and I'll do the same. I'll repeat the process. I'll just go get all their inventory. This takes that off of them, and then I'll go to the headquarters, and I'll show you the other part. If you don't have high mass or if you don't have teleportation researched, what you can do is have them go to your headquarters and drop it off. This is a command that's available on the ship menu. So if you just click right here, right click, is that the one I just had? No, it's the wrong guy. This. You have options, deposit inventory. If they have anything, you can have them deposit the inventory at the HQ. And so they'll fly to the HQ, they'll drop it off, and then it will appear in this safe storage box. And so I'll go through here, collect whatever I need to. And then all you got to do after this is take all of those illegal wares and go. Well, I go to a pirate station or one of the free ports. Let's just say right over here. I'll teleport here. And I usually have one part close to one of these trade corners. And I make two things. So delirium, you need hallucinogenics and needles. You can buy needles from a lot of vendors. So I'll make all of these. As you can see, I could make a couple Setas. Don't do that. You can't sell them. You can only sell the parts. You could make a bunch of these security bypass systems, encryption systems, and slicers, but you have to have really good rep with a pirate faction that's willing to buy them from you. So I don't really make these right now until I kind of get to that point. Another thing you could do is if you have spacefly eggs, you can make spacefly caviar. This is actually one of the most valuable things you can make, and you usually end up with a lot of them. So those are kind of the two main things are delirium and spacefly caviar, but you also might maybe be at the point where you could sell these, and that'd be great. So you craft these items, go over here, and just sell your wares. And you can see like spacefly eggs are good. You can sell them on their own, but the flux capacitor, that's worth quite a bit. Damage singularity engine is worth quite a bit. Programmable field array is worth quite a bit. And you know, these, I have 6 or 7 of these stations set up, and every 20 minutes or so, I'll remember to go get all of those materials, craft some things, and sell them. And that's an easy 30 million right there. So you could, you know, with just a few of these stations set up, you can actually start making bank pretty quick. And that's pretty much all there is to be said about this. Hope you can make some money and protect your gate network.